What's up, y'all? We're back like we never left. I'm really excited about today because I get to ask Lenan a very deep question and watch her answer it. So that's how we're going to start today. So, Miss Lenan, I was wanting to ask you. So we both do ministry. I've done ministry for a while now, and I just wanted to ask you why you do ministry. What is the reason you do ministry?
Well, at first, it was because you wanted to do ministry, and so I was just following. And we did middle school, and we did like youth, and
There's a couple high schoolers in that group.
There was, but it was majority youth,
Yeah.
like majority middle schoolers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I felt very out of my comfort zone because I definitely. Ministry felt like it was only for the outgoing people, only for the people that were just gifted in that area, or only for the people that the Matthew 28, like, go and make disciples verse, that it only applied to those people. And so I felt very out of my comfort zone. And like I said, I was just doing it to follow you and do it because you were doing it. But now I realized before, but it was still just a huge cop-out. That go and make disciples is for everybody, not just the outgoing people, not just the extroverts of the world, but the introverts too. And so, but ministry doesn't have to be like the same cookie cutter. Like, we don't all have to do the exact same things.
Right.
Like, just because you feel called and you're very gifted in speaking and coming up with devos and that kind of thing, that doesn't mean that's what my ministry looked like too. And so I think that's what I learned. And so now I do ministry because I speak specifically to, like, Madison and I lead a girls' young adult group. And I wanted to do that group because I wanted to see a different generation of girls being built up and having a different mindset than how I had previously seen a lot of young girls living. You know, like, because you get out of high school, you're out from underneath your parents' roof, or even if you're not, like, I feel like faith becomes an aesthetic. Like, oh, here's my Instagram picture of, like, my Bible and my cute little notebook and all that kind of stuff, and it felt very shallow. And I know part of that is, like, you're judging just from the pictures that you see, but knowing people deeper than that, it was shallow. And, like, I didn't want Christianity to be an aesthetic. I didn't want Christianity to be the popular thing or the cute thing to do. You know, it should be something you have a heart and desire to walk with God and to follow Him. And so I wanted to put together a girls group to grow deeper and push each other to grow deeper and have the deep, meaningful conversations and not just surface level Sunday school conversations. And then with, like, youth aspect, I want to do ministry because I want to be the youth leader I feel like I didn't have. And be there for those questions that maybe for whatever reason the kids don't feel like they can ask anybody else or ask their parents or whatever, so they have. Like, I feel like I would have done so much better with my faith if I would have had somebody that was younger but still old enough to know what they're talking about, you know? To help.
Right.
And so I think youth ministry wise, I feel like God's laid on my heart to be the person that you didn't have, or that a lot of people don't have.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. See, I love it because I'm never sure how your answers are going to go, and then you always blow me away because you always give these powerful answers. Well, for me, what I believe ministry why I do ministry. Definitely at first it was just like I just knew I needed to do something. Like I knew there was this calling. Youth ministry was what mom and dad did, follow suit. And then I think after I got into it, it just really washed over me how many things I wasn't doing. And like that just made me change so drastically overnight. And then it's like all of a sudden I think to myself, holy cow, I'm talking to these people and like I have an impact on the way they understand God. Like that's important. And so I just had that calling into the teacher role, and then I feel like it just became so serious to me. And then I thought of Romans 12:1 and 2. And therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect. And I liked it because I think before, just Christianity was very personal, and like I felt like I wasn't doing anything for anyone. I didn't think anything of it. But it's like when you read that, like it's a sacrifice. Sacrifice should probably be sacrificial to somebody. It's like, what am I sacrificing to just think about it for myself? And so it's like that was a big hit. And then when I thought about just that idea of like the transformed, like I truly had that like transformation. I feel like even from the Christian I was into ministry, because ministry taught me what a Christian should look like. And it's like, even if you're not teaching like me, I think that's what's been really cool with you, because we're so polar opposites. It's like getting to push you into places where you've taught a couple of lessons, like seeing you do something outside your comfort zone, which also encourages me to do things that are outside of my comfort zone, like sit down and just get to know people a little bit more instead of just being the one who's speaking loudly, and just airing everything out. It's like getting into people's lives and becoming personal with people, because that was definitely where I felt like I wasn't good. It's like that personal touch. Like I feel like I'm just kind of impersonable sometimes, and so it's like learning how to do that, I think, was a big deal. I mean, heck, even things like this, it's like, well, and in my head when I started making videos, and then when we transitioned into YouTube, it was like there's so many little YouTube channels out there, and they all seem kind of goofy. They're all poorly produced. Like, who really cares how many people get impacted? And I think as we started to see even the influence there, it's just been very, very moving. And then taking that into work and realizing you can do ministry and work. And I think for me, like you said, the cookie cutter thing has been so evident in the fact that I love youth ministry and that organized youth ministry, but the conference now has been a huge ministry piece. Work has been a huge ministry piece. Life group has been a huge ministry piece. It's just like I had no idea how many opportunities I'd start getting to do ministry, because that's what we're called to do. Like, we're all called to minister in the sense of just sharing the word. Like you said, Matthew 28, the Great Commission. Like, we're all called to go out and make disciples. It's not just true teachers that are called to do that. It's just you don't have to be able to teach the Bible like a theologian. You just have to be able to say, hey, this is what Christ did for me. And I think that was a really big shift in me. And then obviously that pushed me more to the theology side and the teaching side. But for some people, it's like, it's cool for me to watch you, because I see the impact you have on a lot of the young girls, and then even our older girls and your group you do now, and just the impact you have on people. Like, people love you and they see Christ through you. And even though you aren't loud and the teacher type like I am, it's like you still impact people in a way I don't. I think that's what's so beautiful about it. It's like being a hand married to a foot, I think, is fun. Because it's like we operate so differently, yet we both function for Christ. And I just wanted to say that because I don't know, I just feel like it's hard for me to believe we have anything to say about ministry. But I think that's been a big thing with God, is just like God telling me don't have almost a false humility to where you're just insecure about what I'm calling you to do. Like, if you are a minister and you believe in this, and like if I'm doing things through you, you should tell people and encourage people to do the same, and show what that looks like. And so it's funny because when we did the marriage video, it's like I don't feel like I really have much to say on marriage, but it's like we do. The truth is, we do have a good marriage, which is great. And then as we welcome Kalia into the world, it'll grow out to parenting, and just it's learning all of those steps. And just trying to keep God at the center. So I love that.
Well, I also think that like sometimes in ministry, people have like this perfect idea of what it's supposed to look like. And they have to check all these boxes to accomplish that.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just doing life with people and integrating those holy spiritual conversations and, like just, I don't know. I think for me, ministry is more about just getting to know people and not necessarily preaching from a platform.
Mm.
And so I think, just kind of like the cookie cutter thing. It doesn't have to be this perfect ideal. You have to be doing devos every week. You have to be preaching from a platform. You have to be making a video. Like, it's just like our group, bringing people, a bunch of girls that didn't know each other.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them, they came for the first time not knowing anyone else.
Right.
Which was so cool. And just doing life together, pouring into each other, learning from each other. Sharing what you've learned, and you never know how that's going to impact somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's how you make disciples.
Yeah.
It's not a one and done, I'm going to do this and now you're just a disciple. It's you're with them for the long haul, and that's how you make disciples, and then they go and make disciples, and then
Right.
So
I love that. That's awesome. Well, I can't add much more than that. I think you hit the nail on the head. So I love that. So that's what we got for you. I hope this encourages you. If you're in a position where you're looking into getting into ministry or already are in ministry and just need some encouragement, I hope that's what this was for you. And if you're not doing organized ministry, but I hope this is a realization that the Great Commission is still called to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, go out and make disciples, and that's every day. It's in work, it's in on the phone, it's in the gas station, it's everywhere. Like, you never know where God is going to use you if you just open yourself up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all I got. Our song of the week, it's funny, I've been waffling on what I wanted to do, but I think I want to do Easy by Elevation Rhythm. It's just a really calm, sweet song, and I've been listening to it a lot lately. So I'm gonna put that one as our show for this week. We have our conference April 26th. If you're in town or not in town and wish to be there, it'll be at Refuge Church, which used to be Northwest Christian Church. Let us know if you have more questions, but we'd love to have you there. This conference is something I genuinely think God has asked us to do, and we've already seen Him using it in the first 2. We are on number 3, which is crazy. And so I'm super, super excited. So I'm looking forward to it. It is wild. And so I'm looking forward to the 3rd We Are conference, and we will hopefully see a lot of you there. And if you have any prayers, please let us know. We could do nothing more than answer questions or give prayer where we can. So we love you all and look forward to seeing you again. Deuces.